Sucker MC should call me sire to burn my kingdom. You must use fire. I won't stop rocking till I reach classic Run DMC. Hello, America. Hello, world. Hello, you. It is your new best friend, California. And this is the Pod is Good podcast, aka the notorious PIG. Pod is good and all the time. If you know, you know. If you don't, keep listening. You will learn. This is episode 38, and I have a good one today. I got one of my close guys here. You know, sometimes you got to bring your family through so you can have those real conversations. You know what I mean? Like you can really get in the weeds about it. You know, my guy's been an educator for a long time. He's taught groups and groups of children. He's looked into the eyes of the young ones, saw fear, saw challenge, and spoke to that. He inspired, he motivated. People probably remember him more than he remembers them because he's been through so many kids' lives in his life. That happens. That happens. You don't know the mark that you're making on someone. Sometimes you just gotta trust and believe that you're doing the right thing by them and keep persevering. And that is the epitome of the life and the legacy that my next guest has left behind. Not left behind like that. He's still with us. He's coming out. I mean, like left behind in his trail as we, y'all know what I mean. Anyway, let's get ready for the show. It's going to be a good one. What's going on, Damiek? How are you, my guy? Can you hear me?
I'm good. I hear you. Good. You know, we got that
Okay.
Inglewood.
I thought I lost you for a second.
Nah, we got that Inglewood internet. So, you know, it may go in and out a little, but I'm here. Trust me, I'm here.
You know what? That's the problem with the Rams. See, they went to Inglewood and they go in and out. You know, sometimes they look good, sometimes they don't. Now I understand. Now I
Okay,
understand.
that's your reason. You a Rams fan?
I'm actually not a Rams fan, but you know, because they're in the city, I gotta love them. Matter of fact, me and Erica, we actually
Yeah.
took that team as like our couples team because you know I'm originally from St. Louis. She's from LA. They went to St. Louis. They were from LA. They're like the only football team that kind of
Okay.
carries our
Okay.
story as a couple. So
That's a good fan story. We heard no romantic fan story, but that's
yeah,
definitely on that.
yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations. So what's up, man? I like what you're doing. I like the energy, man. I'm glad that
Thank
I
you.
could come
Thank you,
through
bro.
and break bread with you. You know, appreciate the
Man,
invite.
man,
Definitely.
absolutely. I had to have you on. Had to have you. When I drew out my first little list of like who I got to get on the show. Let me get my first 50 lined up. You was in the list. So you already know.
I'm glad
We
I
done
made
had
that.
great
Thank you.
conversations. We done had great conversations that dealt with, you know, family and husbandhood and life in general and black culture. I mean, you know, we've been there. So it's like
Yeah,
those are the
yeah.
kind of conversations that, you know, we look to have.
And those are the type of conversations all men need to have. You know, we need to
That's
really talk about those things because you can't do it on your own.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, there's somebody that's been through it before and could give you some sound
True.
advice if you just listen to that person, you know,
Yeah.
and figure it out. But yeah, we gotta spend more time talking to each other about our levels of triumphs and stress.
Yeah. Yes. Conversations that need to be had more. Do you feel like that when you're in class, like you have to kind of separate what you can talk about in the classroom and maybe what you wish you could talk about if you didn't have those, you know, walls around you?
Yeah, I mean, with the way the kids are with these phones, man, if you're on a school campus, you got to act like you being videoed at all times. You know,
Right,
you just
right.
never know. So you got to be on your best conversations, even with people that you love and trust. You got to keep the conversations positive for the
Yeah.
most time because you never know when you're going to get caught out there saying something that you can't take back, you know?
Mm. So that's something that you actually have feel like you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, like just the cameras picking you up and grabbing something and taking it out of context, and then it turns around and it's back in your face the wrong way.
Right. It's just something you have to be conscious of. If you're not conscious of it, you're gonna get caught slipping. You know. So it's just
Mm,
something that we're passing to the new teachers when you come into the profession. We all have bad days sometimes, but you don't want it televised. You know, you just don't
gotcha.
want it on TV. And it's good people that sometimes get caught in a bad moment. And
That's true.
yeah, you don't. None of us want that. You know,
Yeah.
none of us want that. But you just got to be careful. But for the most part, to go back to your question, you get to the part where you become organic and just talk about what you know. You
Mm.
know, as an educator, you want to talk about things that you know to be facts. You don't want to put BS into the kids' heads and they take it on face value and now they got them in a twist or something. You never want
Mm,
to do anything like that. Like bad education is worse than lies, you know. So
yeah.
you just want to make sure whatever you talking about is the truth. That's
And
it.
so
You know,
and
and if
so does that ever make you feel restricted, or does it kind of like I guess free you that keeping it down the line?
there's always a line when you're in front of especially children that you got to be conscious of.
Hmm.
It's only a selective few that you could yourself and say whatever you want to say in that space.
Yeah,
But you can't
yeah,
do
yeah,
that with
yeah.
everybody. And being at
That's true.
work, that's part of being a professional. You gotta know that work ethic and the etiquette to not catch yourself in a bind. And we all do it, but you don't want it to be something that's televised and it just like damn.
Yeah, yeah,
you
because it,
know
it can it can grow
you
its
wish
own
you could
leg.
take that back. Right. You don't want nothing like that. But we always have those moments. So you always should think before you speak.
Mm,
Don't be emotional with it and don't just jump off and say something. Even though it's the truth, the timing may not be the truth. You know, sometimes the timing is everything and the crowd is everything. So
mm.
um, sometimes you could be in a room with kids and you know them personally, so you could be a little bit more real with them, where you'd be more reserved with that conversation with other students that you don't have that rapport with, or or friends or coworkers. It all applies to the same.
Got you. That you saying it that way makes me think of the first time I saw Jordan Peterson. And when I'm listening to Jordan Peterson speak, I'm like, yo, everything that he's saying is like spot on. But it's almost exactly like what you're saying. The environment that he was in, the students that he was talking to, the campus that he was on completely shifted the power of the words that he used, and it took on a whole new persona, a persona that he can't even escape to this day, even though it's not factual to what he actually represents.
Yeah, yeah. They use things against you, you know. Sometimes we get hanged with our own rope,
Mm.
because we say the wrong things at the wrong time, or man, that's another thing out now because they'll have stuff sounding just like you, looking just like you, you know. So that's why I stay in the
That's
house,
crazy.
man. Everybody be outside, I'll be in the house. I
Yo,
can't get in
that is
trouble in the
crazy.
house.
When I started seeing that they were literally um creating um dialogue and then putting voices with it, even putting visuals with it to make it look, I was like, we about to take ourselves out of this thing.
Yeah, yeah,
We really
yeah. I
are.
think I think we've seen some sci-fi movies about this back in the early 2000s, the
Yeah.
90s, the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
some of the kids that saw those movies, they took it to heart too much. That's what happened. They were
yeah.
like,
Well, they planted seeds.
yeah, they
You
were
know.
like, maybe that could happen. And then
Yeah, yeah. And here
so
we go.
here we go. Here we go. So right now you are uh an educator at Dorsey High School.
Yes,
Shout
sir.
out to Dorsey. I know you started a lot
Dorsey
younger, but
Dimes,
you
baby.
there you go. I know you started out a lot younger as far as grade level, but you found that home in high school. Now, but you're in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is
Yes.
one of those, you got to deal with some things in high school. Are there any areas, you know what I'm talking about, that you just try to stay away from? Or do you just attack all of it, not attack, but do you confront all of it head on and give it, the best teacher barrel that they can find?
Yeah, that's what our mission. We're not here to try to conceal information from the babies.
Hmm.
That puts them in a worse predicament. Profanity,
Yeah.
there's sex, um, there's murderers, there's liars, cheaters, and
Yeah.
you got to let them know about that and how to move in that type of situation because majority of people are good, and it's easy to love a good person, but you don't want to get caught up in something because nobody told you better. So as an educator, anything that comes our way, it has to be addressed. You don't try to sweep it under the rug. That doesn't help anything. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
talk
so,
about it, or really just listen and see where they're going with it,
mm,
and let them do all the talking, and then you just ask a couple of questions and maybe drop a little advice on them,
yeah.
especially if you've been through it. And
Mm,
they call it new generation, but we all go through the same thing at that age. You know, we thought we knew it all, but we were really baby then, and that's
all
the way
right.
I look at them now. Is y'all babies? Y'all think y'all look grown, but you
Right.
sound grown, but you a baby. You don't know nothing. So when you say
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that's from left field, you pull them aside and say, ask them some questions about it, and be like, okay, let me give you my my side, how I think I can help you a little bit. And your
Gotcha.
job is done. You just tell them. If they take the advice, better, especially if it's sound advice. If they don't take it, um, they'll figure it out sooner or later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And so
teach.
and so do you guys are you presented the issue of gender dysphoria or anything like that in your classrooms?
Yeah, that's a big topic. You know, I just look at it as human beings. At the end of the day, we have more in common than we don't have in common. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you know, Whether I like it or not is not, that doesn't come into play. It's just these are human
Hmm.
beings. We encounter them each day. Let's just keep it peaceful, you know. I don't
Hmm.
want you after me. I ain't trying to plot on you. You live your life, I live mine. Let's just,
Yeah.
you know, respect the community. Stop littering.
Yeah.
Pick up after your dog. Don't break it in my house or my car. Leave my people alone. We good.
Those,
Do
those,
what we
hey, hey, those
don't
some good
start
ones right
nothing.
there.
Yeah, keep it safe. You know, don't start none. It won't be none.
Won't be nothing. Won't be
Yeah,
nothing. Yeah.
yeah.
I always looked at, teachers, especially teachers that are in like, the LA Unified, type of district. Like it feels like each day can be very potentially testy for you because you kind of never know what you're going to get. You never know what conversation's going to arise. You never know what someone dealt with just outside of the school. You don't know the influences at home. I mean, there's so much in a city like LA compared to someone who's a teacher in maybe, Nebraska or South Dakota. It's like you deal with it in just a different pressure cooker than other people. Does that at times get to be a bit much, or have you just learned to roll with it?
Both. You know, in the beginning, I remember some time off because it got too stressful,
Mm,
and I took maybe a year, almost 2 years off, where I was pursuing other goals,
wow.
and it I went things worked better when I went back to teaching. That because that's what I was supposed to be doing. That was the epiphany that came about.
Hmm,
Like I'm, what I was following was a passion, which was my writing. But it's okay to have more than one
absolutely.
passion and purpose. So I went back to what I was doing, and now that I'm more experienced, a little bit older, try to go to work from a place of gratitude. I'm in my community making an impact,
Absolutely.
and I'm making enough money to take care of my lifestyle.
Hmm,
And I have a lot of job, but I'm doing my work. So you go in there, a place of gratitude, and it's about relationship building. That's all teaching
yeah.
it's about relationships. So I'm
Hmm,
trying to make and improve relationships with people and try to become positive. So if you come from that view of, then it's not as stressful when you go to work, you know, and
that
then you
makes sense.
gotta make that home. You gotta think like that for the home. You gotta think like that for the family, for your spouse. You just gotta figure out a way of coming from gratitude, because if you come from cells, it's not usually a good. It's not a good view.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I can picture that, and I can feel that. Like if you approach, let's say your wife or husband, and instead of coming from a place of problem solving or working out an issue or whatever the overarching thing is, if you come at it from a place of gratitude, like I'm grateful to even have you in my life, I'm grateful to share this time of my life with you, to even be working through these challenges, and you wanting to learn me and me wanting to learn you, that settles you into a different space in that conversation, more so than the walking in either, maybe with your own idea, something you want that person to finally get that you've been trying to say, or, just a different approach. So yeah, approaching life that way, that makes sense. That makes sense from
Yeah,
a place of gratitude.
Yeah, that's what I've
Yeah.
been working on because it keeps me sane. You know, like you said, if you
Yeah.
come from looking at the different side, then it's not always a beautiful look.
Yeah. Yeah. That,
You know, and
yeah.
that adds
All
to
the
the stress
husbands know.
sometimes.
Every
But we got
every husband.
issues.
Yeah. Every husband is doing
Yeah,
this while you're talking to like, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you brought up you
They
left.
know this story.
Um, that's true. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You brought up that you left writing for a while. I mean, left teaching for a while to pursue writing. So, how long were you gone, and what did that pursuit bring you?
I I was gone for about a year and a half.
Hmm.
I was still subbing here and there, just to keep something coming in. But um, one of my pride playwright, and we wrote, produced, directed a play, and we put it out there,
Hmm.
and we made great money, like the first couple of shows, and I knew I had something, and
Very nice.
just worked with it. It was a play that I had called Jumping the Broom, and this was back in like
Hmm.
2003, and we had a good little run, and it was just time to go back to work because that show business is not consistent. You you can't depend on that every single day unless you on the top.
That's a
To
fact.
or yeah,
That's a
so
fact.
I
Yeah.
had a family to provide for, so it wasn't like I was, you know, single living at my mama's house or something like that. This is something.
Sure.
Yeah, I had responsibilities, so I had to make that secure because the writing, even though it was successful, it wasn't steady where it came down to the
Mm.
economics of it. And I just didn't want to live that type of lifestyle at that point. I'd rather
Mm.
do both than depend on one.
True. That makes sense. And how did your
Yeah.
how did
So
how did your wife feel during that time about that shift? Was she nervous at all? Did she worry like what's gonna happen when you leave teaching, or was she like fully supportive? How was that?
yeah, I would say she was supportive. We had when I did this, I stacked. So we it
There you go.
wasn't a big yeah, it wasn't a big economic shift. We had to get used to it,
Mm.
and what changed was I didn't know how to invest the money that I had made. I didn't know which way to go with it. So um, we we invested in real estate in another house, and
Nice.
that's once I did that, I had to go back to work because now there was another mortgage.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Money gone.
yeah. Well, I was like, nah, let me get out, let me get this cracking before um,
Yeah.
the money just depletes. And
Yeah.
we had some tight times, but we made it through, man.
Yeah.
You just keep working at it and don't give up. Have a solid plan and keep working at it. And rough times pass, man. It's hills and mountains. That's life.
Yeah.
When we at the top, we don't complain.
True.
So we at the bottom, we be talking shit. And it's like it comes with the territory, man. So once you
Right.
get an understanding of that, it makes it a little easier.
Yeah. Yeah. You need the bitter for the sweet to taste right.
Right, right. Well, it's gonna happen. We
Yeah.
we could sometimes Stuff be going so good. I've been looking around like, okay, um,
where is it at?
where's it at? Something, because that's part of life, man. So
That's part of it. Yeah.
again, just come from a place of gratitude. That's what I've
Yeah.
been practicing the last few months. It's a new concept to me too, but I like the feeling better when you come from
Yeah.
that side point, as apart from when you come from the other.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. What what subject do you teach at Dorsey?
Um, I don't really. I'm not in the classroom anymore. When I was
Oh,
in
you're
the
not in the classroom.
classroom, I taught English and I taught theater. And I'm basically an instructional coach right now where I get to help teachers, and it's a sweet spot because I still have access to the kids.
Hmm.
Supervision, sometimes I cover or got to take a class, but for the most part, I'm out of the classroom working with administration just to push our policy of, you know, trying to teach these babies something valuable.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. You saying that you were in English makes a lot of sense because in listening to you talk, even hearing that you left and did writing, you're very specific with your word choice. I can hear it. Like just in your responses, you're very calculated in exactly which words you choose. I can hear the selection process
Yeah,
as you're
man. I ain't trying to embarrass the family and say some dumb stuff and be like, oh, man, I can't take you nowhere. Yeah, I don't want that. So you definitely think, I've always been like that. The
yeah.
quiet processing person, you know,
Hmm.
um, just
Yeah.
trying to study the game. I'm always watching and listening. I've always been that type. And then when I
Hmm.
figure it out, experiment a little bit, and if I got it, I'm trying to share it with everybody.
Nice.
So it's a easy transition into teaching, and writing was basically something my mom's had me do when I was younger. She used to make me write relatives that were at distance from us. Our family's from the West Indies, Barbados. So we got all the West Indian connections: Miami, um, New York, London, Toronto, um, the South. And growing up in New York, I had to write people. We didn't have text and all that
Right. Right.
type of stuff. We wrote letters and licked the stamp
Yeah.
and put it in the mailbox type stuff. So, and I read a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I had anger issues when I was younger, like tantrums. And what my mom showed me how to do was to write down my feelings, and that calmed me down
Nice.
because talking about it wasn't going to do
Nice.
nothing. So I have to do something physical when I'm upset, and writing was something that's physical, in a constructive way. Why are you laughing at me, man?
It was the I got to do something physical.
Yeah, yeah, man.
So I caught that. It's like we're gonna take all that energy and we're gonna redirect it into this writing. That's the physicality of this
Writing,
situation.
sports,
Yeah, yeah.
all of that. Any yard work, chores,
I
anything
hear
to
it.
physically get it out my system and
Yeah.
think. And then once I think, I come up with an issue with the issue solver.
Mm.
And that's basically what English is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's you read, you comprehend, you process, critical thinking, And when you grab that vocab from reading, you add it to your repertoire.
Yeah.
And you go out there and you just, you carry yourself a certain way differently when you're literate. So I love being able to teach kids how to read and write and speak, because that gives them freedom.
That's true. I had a guest on just a couple of days ago or a couple of shows ago, and he was actually in Barbados while we were doing the
Okay.
show. And I forgot that you were from West Indies, Barbados.
Yeah.
I completely forgot. So I'm gonna bring
Yes,
up
sir.
something that he brought up just to kind of get your perspective on it. He was talking about how the country has always been very religious. From when it was first settled to the what did he call it? Not the provinces, but the sections. I forgot the name that he used for it. But like the sections of the country that we call
Parishes.
Saint parishes. There you go. The parishes were like, Saint Thomas and Saint John, and this and that and the other. And he said, as time goes on, what he notices when he goes back to visit is that the new culture, the new progressive culture, the new ideology is um less religious as it used to be. So the you kind of feel it in the country. You feel like they're losing that part or that essence of what defined the area. I don't know if you've been back recently, but can you connect with that at all, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I've been I went back to St. Lucia um this past spring, and I was in Barbados last year. And
Nice.
the phenomena that you're talking about is actually global. It's just not in the West Indies.
That's a good point.
What's happening is our truth, our origin is coming out. And
Hmm.
you know, and I just want to put this disclaimer out before I interject a little bit more. Um, with people and their belief system, we get along better because we have more in common. And you don't let a religious belief separate you from different people. But with
Yeah.
that being said, when you see Christianity in its origin, specifically built for nation, walked hand in hand with that. When they took our people from Africa and brought them to the Caribbean, Caribbean is known as the breaking grounds because that's where they were given the religion, that's where they were given the European diet, the dairy, the white foods that cause issues, potatoes, rice,
Hmm.
things that gives us diabetes and other diseases and whatnot. We adopted that.
Wow.
And so those areas are called the breaking grounds. And from there,
Hmm.
they moved them to the States. And you could tell where people are from in Africa just based off of the crops. The crops that were in the Caribbean, the sugar cane, the cotton, this stuff comes from Africa. So when they brought our people over, they pretty much knew that they had expertise in certain crops, and that's what you see in the
Yeah.
South.
Yeah.
The same crops. There's a lot of foods that's been brought over from our people, and that's where you could tell where they're from. Don't always have to go to ancestor.com. You could you could figure that out at the same time. But with that being
Yeah. Yeah.
said, now they're seeing that people now are studying the history of Christianity, just not
Yeah.
Jesus and Christianity. And when you study it, the perspective changes completely. The narrative
It's true.
changes completely. And you find out that this is something that was given to us by force. and we adopted it, and we tend to embrace it, and it has an impact on our mind state, you know. And it's been proven, and now those facts are coming out. You know, the white
Mm.
supremacy, white gender is now, they're like, okay, and you know, that's probably George Floyd that brought that more into perspective than anything, because that was a
Mm.
pivotal point of recent times. Like,
Yeah.
you know, us being the original people and God being through us has been something that's always been spoken about. But as time progresses, the energy and the proof is putting that truth out. And they see that in the Caribbean. Our youth, you see that today. There's in the churches, it's you don't see the young people there no more. You
That's
know,
true.
it's primarily the women at this, and
Yeah.
it's been like this for a while. So I'm just saying the narrative just isn't in the Caribbean. They what they've gained is knowledge of self, and once you gain this knowledge of self and it starts spreading, you know better, you start doing better, and you make changes. And you may not be able to change your ways if you're an older person, but you got a little niece or nephew, or a son or daughter, or a neighbor, you know,
Mm.
or you're a teacher. You have the opportunity to break this information down, and um,
Yeah.
that's the beauty, because I get to go to work and teach this. Where when
Hmm.
I first started teaching, I used to get in trouble for teaching this. Now,
Mm.
now it's part of the curriculum, because they see they see what their system looks like and how it treats us. So I
Hold on. When you say it's in the curriculum now, like what are you referring to specifically? What's in the curriculum now that maybe before you would have gotten a little bit of trouble for speaking about in class?
well, we could there at Dorsey, AP, which is Advanced Placement African American class. Man, I wish I had that class when I was in school.
Huh.
You know, and
That sounds
they're
lovely.
teaching
That sounds lovely.
ethnicities. Yeah, and I be up in there raising
Mm.
my hand, forgetting that I'm supposed to be helping. I'm in there as a student, and you know, I go to that class like every
I
day
know.
faithfully
I
when I
know.
get a chance. I know or I don't know, and there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and I consider myself to be conscious, fairly conscious, but you know, there's a lot that I learned going to that class, and just
Yeah.
seeing the babies get that pride and that energy, because you got to think about it. When
Mhm.
you see what our people go through, and then you see us being treated a certain way, and then you see this God that doesn't look like us. It's a subliminal
Oh yeah.
it's a subliminal message,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it has a great impact without saying anything. And if people find out who that guy is, Cesar Borges, you
Say
know,
the Borgia.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is a person that Michelangelo drew,
Yeah.
um, and he became the face of Christianity. But you see the
That's
Black
it.
Madonna and you see Black Jesus. So when we say the black man is God, um, yeah, we're the
We don't say it. The Bible say it.
right,
We just relaying
right.
information.
That's why I said that information is there, has always been out there, but
Yeah.
people take what they're given. And if your grandmama has this belief system, and your aunties and your mama and your dad and people on his side, his brothers and nieces and whatnot, then you like, it got to be true, and you take that
Right.
on face value. And I'm not knocking it, if the goal is to be like Jesus and be a good person, yeah, that's what it's all about at the end of the day, because every belief system teaches morality. So if you got
True.
morals, then we can get
Yeah.
along. That's why I said we got more in common, but there's a truth to it. And Christianity and the belief system, the parishes, that stuff that they put on us, um, that was for a specific goal, and
Yeah.
it's the end of that right now.
Hmm.
So the truth is out there, and people are acting accordingly. They're questioning, they're researching, and you decide whether you're going to be faith based or fact based. And once you make a decision to go, you know, then you figure it out and you find your way. You find your way.
Yeah.
Whatever, everybody's looking for God. Either you're going to find it within yourself, or you're going to look for it outside of yourself. But they're going to
So
find a
you
way.
you really starting to sound like the woke mob right now. You really sounding like the woke mob, and and the way that they've kind of turned the idea of being woke into such a politicized, negative, extremist idea. I would like to hear your, I know we know, but I want to hear your view on what does it mean for people to be woke, because that's pretty much what you're alluding to right now.
Be as woke as you can. Learn your history. That's all it really is. It's us studying our history, because our history in America, in most places where there has been colonization,
Hmm.
starts with the colonization. There's
Mm,
nothing taught prior to that in the system. And
true.
the system does what it does. So um, right now they're trying to hang on to it, you know, um, and hope that some people will still listen. But the the cat's out the bag. You can't put the top back on right now. You know,
Can't put the top back on.
it's out. It's out there. So being that it's out, I just love seeing it. I love
Hmm.
seeing the truth happen, because I remember I learned this at 14 years old. You know, I
Hmm.
got this information actually a little earlier, probably about 12, 13.
Wow.
I got this
Wow.
information. So it changed my trajectory. The older you get, the harder it is to receive what I just spoke about. But I'm speaking to the babies.
Hmm.
I'm speaking to the
The
babies.
ones that can hear it.
Yeah, that the older people, it's a bit more of a challenge, because that challenges them to do some soul searching, and some research, and not everybody's built for that.
Okay, so I'm about to bring two things together. You're an educator, and in Florida, they recently had this whole issue with CRT. All right. I would like to know your perspective. First off, I would love, as an educator, if you can actually break down for anyone listening what critical race theory really is, how it's actualized, and then your thoughts on if it should or should not be in the school system.
Well, um, what it comes down to basically is we're teaching our origin and our legacy, and it exposes that everything that we've been taught have been lies.
And when you say
And
we, who are you speaking of?
um, black, brown, even white people. White
Mm,
supremacy is for the elite, rich people that have control. So even the masses of average white, black, brown, Asian, whatever you call, they don't have that control. They just follow what traditions or laws you're being given.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so we have right now we're teaching our truth. That's all it really is. You could call it. You can make up any acronym in critical race theory. That shit don't even go together. You know, if you think about it, it's critical, it's race, and it's a theory. And a theory isn't a fact. So it's like, come on, man.
they don't even go
That
together.
they sneaking that in on the side. That's a side. This
Yeah,
what the kids call it. You subbing me, man.
yeah,
You subbing. Yes, but
yeah.
yeah, we got to teach our history. We've learned
Mm,
everybody else's. You
mm.
know, why is it a problem when we trying to learn our own?
That part.
You know,
That
and
part.
I think when they go, the Florida governor teaching them that slavery was beneficial.
Mm,
It's like, yeah,
mm.
keep saying stuff like that so people can really look at you and see. Because if that's all you got,
Right,
you know,
right.
that means you ran out of lies. Because you doing, yeah,
You
you
scraping the bottom
desperate
of the
now,
barrel at that
right?
point.
They're like, really? That don't even need a comeback, bro. You know, really? That's
Oh,
how you see it?
right,
Now
right.
you know
So
that's a
then, of
lie.
course, so
You
then,
know
of
that
course, you would
homie.
say,
You know that homie that
"Go ahead."
was that.
No,
Now I
go
said,
ahead.
you know
You
that
say,
homie that y'all chilling with, and you love him to death, but you know he ain't telling the truth. All his stories is lies. That's one of these situations. Like this
"Yeah,
this
yeah,
cat is just entertainment right now. You know, we gonna invite him
right,
because he gonna show us to a good time, but don't believe anything he says.
yeah, yeah."
That's
Well,
what
what?
that anti critical race theory is about.
Yeah,
They just don't want that value, and why
right,
not? Why not? You don't even got to say nothing. Just I ain't looking for no apology. I'll take reparations. I ain't looking for no apology though. And
yeah,
let us just teach the truth and let it come out. And everybody's learning it. So that system that was set up, it only benefits people at the top. And the people at the
mm,
top, they're just not white, you know. They black, they brown, they Asian, they got they part of that system of capitalism, you know,
right,
and keeping control so they could control economics. And um, yeah, people need to know. And if we do know, we get along better. We respect each other more. We learn because a lot of this comes from ignorance, and ignorance is just not knowing any better. So we get a chance to break bread with people and share our culture in its purest form,
mm,
and we get to speak about it. And all of us definitely need therapy as the truth comes out, because you see how the world has responded to it, of
mm,
the truth coming out. People are it's violence. It's a shamble because the jig is up.
mm.
And we all need therapy. We need therapy. They need therapy, and that way we could learn to work together. But the truth has to come out first and foremost.
Yeah, and it's a big truth. I mean, the therapist might need therapy. That might be a
Yeah,
whole another rollout to get them even
right,
prepared. You know what I mean, to deal with something on that level.
right, right.
Yeah,
It's like when you learn something that you didn't know, it's a shock to you, and people have different ways of responding to that, and
yeah,
you gotta find a way to get people to get to that piece where
hmm,
they could learn how to accept and function based
hmm.
on the truth. And
Yeah,
yeah, that takes time. It takes
true.
time. It's not an overnight thing. But this has been happening for years. It's just now it's real visible right now, where Hip hop. I know you a hip hop head. That's what we came out teaching.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. Yeah.
And it got
Yeah.
sidetracked.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's my generation. You know,
Right.
I'm in my early fan. That's my generation. It's what my influence, and this is what we came in as. So it's only natural that the next generation takes the baton and moves it further.
Right. Right. At least that's the hope. You know what I mean? That's the desire is that they move forward.
They will, you know,
That's good.
forward, man. These babies
Yeah.
forward, bro. And it's like parenting. You got your kids, and you trying to show them how to do it the only way you know how, and they got different
Mm.
ways for their time.
Right.
So
Right.
sometimes we got to let them figure out their way of doing it, and
That's
it's not
true.
going to look like how we did it. It's going to look different.
Right.
So if we
That's a
just
fact.
teach
That's a
them how to, deal with the basics of life, they'll step into there and they'll carry it on because they moving on a different frequency than we did.
yeah. No,
They
that's a
only
fact.
understand that.
Every generation is going to do it a little different. You look at a child star like Michael Jackson. When he's little, he got afro, bell bottoms, and a silk shirt. And then you go to child star, in the '90s, like crisscross. They got backwards baseball jerseys and braids. It's like
Yeah,
they're gonna do it how they do it, but they're gonna achieve what they need to achieve at that time. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
yeah.
So, so So let's double back. What you say?
They're gonna keep the ball moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. So let's double back to the play because we kind of brushed over it. So you do a playwright, you put it out, it does really well. It probably opens up some doors for you. It also sets your mind straight on what you are supposed to be doing and kind of where this world of this passion fits in your life. But tell us about the playwright. I want to know about the play. How did it go? What was it about? I know you told us the title, "Jumping the Broom." What was it about?
Uh, it, Jumping the Broom was really about a couple that came together that different sides of class, and their parents didn't want them to be together. So I guess it's a modern day Romeo Juliet type of thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's in our community based and just dealing with everyday cultures. And there's a saying that definitely married people know. When you get married, not only keep people out your business, but keep family
Mm.
out your business.
Ooh, you just hit on something me and my wife were talking about today. If she's listening, she is amening you right now.
Yeah, man.
Man.
Because once they get in, you can't get them out, man. You know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Noted.
that
Noted.
that's really what it was. It was a modern day love tale,
Yeah.
and it was my first production, and we won. We didn't win, but we got nominated for about 7, 8 NAACP Image Awards,
Nice.
and it did really well.
That,
And I was
that's
able
a
to
win to
write.
me, especially since that was your first one. That's a
Yeah,
win.
that was my first one, and
Wow.
then I did another one, maybe a year later, called the 12 Jewels,
Hmm.
and that didn't do so well economically. That was one of the times the house and um,
Mm.
you know did that play and went upside down and had to go. I said, okay, I definitely got to go back to work. That was one of the factors too. So
That'll happen.
I experienced the ups and downs with that, and
Yeah.
then I got a chance really to hone my skills. I started like teaching theater,
Mm.
and I was at Washington Prep, Did LMU for about 12 summers, taught theater. We produced a show every year,
Wow.
original stuff, nothing that's um, copied, that from somebody else. Everything is original, like teaching the kids to
Nice.
write, produce,
Nice.
um, direct, and have fun with it and stuff. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's been a blessing, man.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. And man, I wish I had to talk to you. There was one point I was trying to put together my own I was calling it the hip hop school, but the idea was like, I knew that they had taken music out of schools at that time where they were talking about it. It was a big deal, especially in California. And I was like, what if someone then had a school that dealt with not just, learning an instrument, but, you could take, music production classes, engineering classes, marketing classes, radio, like the business behind
Yeah,
it that that could really benefit a lot of kids because hey, a lot of kids want to get into the music industry, but not everybody wants to be an artist. A lot of
right,
people would love to be a program director for a national radio station, but they may not know exactly which direction to go. But hearing you and what you did, that feels like you could have been a great asset, if that ever kind of jumped off to bring kids
yeah.
into
I mean, I
teach
felt I
their deal.
was.
Right, right.
We did that. We wasn't like writing down and dreaming about it. We actually produced every summer that we was at LMU, at the schools that I worked at. You know, Washington Prep, great tradition of
Mm,
the theater arts, performing arts. I was there for 6 years and
nice.
ran the program there and really learned how to, put shows together, and by putting talent on the stage, because all our kids have it in them. We just
Yeah,
got to find out what it is and then give them the confidence
that's true.
to get up on stage and share it with the world.
Yeah,
And overcome. It's like if you could stand up on stage in front of thousands and be nervous as hell and to perform anyway, the
that's huge.
world is yours after
Oh
that.
yeah, oh
Because
yeah,
there's nothing that's going to be as more pressure filled as that first time. Like you'll figure out, I know how to get through this. So I didn't care about making people movie stars or whatever. I wanted to build up their confidence and allow them to find their voice.
mm,
Because I'm not an actor. Yeah, I
right.
never went to acting school and never desired to be on stage. But you know, I know how to help the kids bring out their inner glory,
That's
and that's what you help them do. And once you see that light come on,
yeah,
it's like, man, there's nothing like that in the world. It's like a high.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
that's that high that educators talk about, that is priceless.
That's an incredible trait to have as an educator. And
Yeah,
I don't think all of them have that. So salute to you. You know what I
I
mean?
appreciate that. Thank.
Yeah, no doubt. So you're telling me about, your magical moments, those aha moments, those light bulb priceless moments. I want to know some of your challenges. What maybe was your worst day as an educator, or a time where things did not go so well.
Oh man, I think for the most part, when anytime I had a challenge, it's because I something outside of work that I didn't know how to handle correctly, and I was still in my figuring it out at stage. And I
Hmm.
went to work, and my mood wasn't good. but luckily I haven't had anything that took my career away. Or I mean, I had a couple of moments where, you know, I thought a physical altercation was gonna happen,
Mm.
and down, you know, by but apart from that, kids are you're not gonna have your issues with the kids, man. It's the adults.
So
you
this
know,
physical altercation was with another adult, like a parent or another teacher?
no, it's with the kid. But what I'm saying is almost physical,
Almost. Yeah.
but
Don't leave
it
that too
never
soon. I
happened.
want to know about that.
Yeah,
I want to know
yeah.
how did
But
he
what I'm
get you
saying
there?
is, how did he get me
Yeah.
there? Just a really aggressive kid
Mm,
that was used to bullying his way and getting his way. And you know, he came into the classroom one day in a real foul mood and wanted to demand that I change the grade. And man, I haven't seen you in like 4 weeks.
whoa.
I'm not changing the grade.
Whoa.
And he snapped, and you know, it just got it went to 100 real quick. And I'm looking at him, and it's like, okay, this kid has a reputation. He's definitely connected to the streets, and right now he's lost his mind.
Right.
And all I'm thinking about is like, yo, at the end of the day, I'm making it back to the crib. So that's really what it was about. And he recognized that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go there with you, but you know, don't let it have to do that.
Yeah.
And he caught on. He caught on. There was a moment of clarity that he
We're,
had.
we're not always
And
afforded those in the middle of chaos. So
yeah,
that's great that
yeah,
yeah.
you know,
Okay.
yeah, I was able to, and I still got investigated with it and stuff
Of
because I
course,
had
yeah.
to report it. And you know, I got examined, but luckily the truth stood on its own, and my students supported, and they came through for me, and it worked out. But
You
apart from that,
hold on. You got a psych examination or a physical examination? That
no,
says a lot.
no, really investigation. That
Oh,
that's
okay,
really what
okay,
it
okay.
was. They
Gotcha.
interviewed people, talked to all the kids in the class, and asked how it came
Okay.
about. And as long
Okay.
as I wasn't bullying him,
Right.
then everything was okay. And that wasn't the truth. But some of our kids, man, they're gonna be great people in this
Mm,
world. Most of them are.
mm.
The doctors, lawyers, they're the future, politicians, leaders, whatever,
Awesome.
athletes, entertainers, and
Awesome.
then some of them aren't.
Yeah.
And he happened to be one of those students. He didn't. That wasn't his thing. And I hope peace. Because after that he did some jail time and had some rough times. And that had nothing to do with me.
Mm.
So when the kids come
Right,
in,
right, right, right. He was
it's
already on that
it's
road.
it's not personal towards you. You just
Yeah.
happen to be the target that they putting it at. And
True.
he caught me at a good stage of my. I probably would have reacted different had it been in the early stage of my career, and I probably would have lost everything behind that.
Mm.
I'd have lost everything.
And now, is that how it works? Like you were saying, there was a investigation. Is that how it works? To where, let's say you're a teacher who has not, been on that. You've been upstanding, citizen within the confines of the school. I don't know how much they look in your personal life, and then all of a sudden you get a kid who has a past, who has, everyone knows what this kid is about. And there is an altercation, like when we see those TikTok videos and some teachers fighting, swinging on some
Mm-hmm.
student. In that kind of situation, if the teacher was provoked, will that teacher lose everything? Or is it like, no matter what, as the teacher, you have to not, no matter what? Or at a certain point, is it like, okay, we get it?
You have to protect yourself, and you have to make it back to the crib. And that's my stake with it. That's my point. I'm not confrontational with students. But these kids, and they've taken a lot of discipline out of the schools where they don't get in trouble for anything. They're fearless, and their parents put that backpack on them and put energy into them. And they come to school and they on one. It's a little bit different. That's one of the reasons why I got out the classroom when I did, because I saw the shift. And like I said, I'm good with most kids. I love kids. I love people, and I get along with most people. But saw a shift, and there's a lot more of an aggressiveness, and they have to be that because they're going to the next generation. We just got to redirect it to let them know, look, we here trying to help you, because like we talked about how's it going on in the West Indies with the parishes, and now the kids are, that's these kids that we talking about. And if they're gonna if they're gonna bring about change, they better be aggressive. They better learn how to voice their opinion and stand up for their rights. And they're not always gonna do it the right way. But eventually, by the time they get to that stage, they'll have those tools. And that was just a learning experience for me, him, and his peers that bear witness to it, because I don't get no glory beating down a kid. It's like
At all.
There's no, that's like fighting a drunk guy. You don't get for that. What's the point? Kids, and you don't want that situation with them, but you got to find a way of protecting yourself. There got to be a balance. There got to be a balance with that. And their energy is different. What we deemed as disrespectful to them is basic communication and no harm intended. This just how they communicate different. And we got to learn that, man, because you can't come at them foul and try to go upside their head. They're not your kids. And that's one of the mantras. Sometimes you take a deep breath and like, this is not my child. This is not my child. Because this is not my child. So I can't snap and act like I would at home. But it teaches you not to act like that at home, because I'm like, man, I'm on my kids, but they're not as troubled as some of the kids that I work with. So maybe I need to appreciate my kids a little bit better and come at them a different way, instead of just, bringing that old West Indian discipline into play, so you got to break that cycle. So
different culture.
It's a different culture and it's a different time. So let these kids find their way.
That's a fact.
You just try to, because they're gonna do it whether or not you're there. Either you're gonna help them or they're gonna run you over. So you could as well be there and try to guide them, because they doing them. It's their turn to be teenagers, 20, 30. I did that. It's their turn to do that.
Yeah, you've been there. Yeah,
I've been there. So I can't deny them that opportunity, and
right.
some of those age groups I didn't do too good. So I can't give them advice any. Yeah.
All right, so we
I was in on top of my game. That comes with maturity.
all right, so we covered a lot, and I try to do a top five in every episode, and you kind of spoke to it when you said something about hip hop and early hip hop, and so I think the top five I'm gonna give you is I need to hear Damiek's. I hope all your students are listening, just in case they don't know this about you already. I want to know Damiek's top five pioneering or pioneer rap groups or solo artists of all time. You can do whatever era that
Oh
you
man.
feel was intrinsic to pioneering the hip hop culture, and whoever you felt. You don't have to put in Grandmaster Flash if you wasn't rocking with Grandmaster Flash. Whoever you put in your top five, that's what I want to hear. Pioneer rappers or rap groups.
For group, I would have to say the body of work that they did as a group,
Hold on, I missed it.
individuals, and
Say it again.
then
Who was the first
off
one?
into other fields. Wu-Tang for the group.
Wu-Tang. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Love
Wu-Tang.
it. Love it.
Their body of
Biggest
work through so many
hip hop brand ever.
genres. Yeah. So yeah, and they straight taught knowledge itself. So man,
Yeah.
my favorite rapper, Big Daddy Kane. I think
Kane.
that's
Smooth operator.
yeah, I think that's like the one of the dopest MCs of all time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Rakim, you know, definitely Rakim.
The
Just
microphone
for
fiend.
yeah, just how he just changed. Like nobody ever sounded like him before. And I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
yeah, nobody's ever sounded like him. Um I love Nas. I think he's
Okay.
probably one of the most creative MCs of all time.
Street
And
poet. Yeah.
yeah, man,
One more.
I have to put Pac in there.
That's a
I
good
gotta put Pac in
that's a
there.
good list. That's a strong list right there.
And yeah, I
That's
put
a strong
Pac
list right there.
because yeah, I put Pac in there, man. It's almost disrespectful to put a top five at this stage. You got to be like, what's your top 15? Because
It really is. It really is.
there's so
I
many,
definitely put people
you
on the
know,
spot with that.
yeah, and then there's people you forget about it. Like, damn, I should have said, grandma. Damn, I missed out. I should have said Ice Cube. And it's like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
that's a
It's true.
stressful question, man. Because I'm gonna be thinking about it tonight. I'll probably wake up in the morning and write a brand new list. It'll last for like 10 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
So
There's
true.
so
So
many
true.
great people out there, man. And shoot, if
Yeah.
I could cross over a little bit, because I've been
Hmm.
trying to promote this. When they ask me my top five, I always
Hmm.
say I try to include, or my top 10, Shabba Ranks, and Supercat,
Yeah.
because they MCing.
Absolutely.
It's just
Absolutely.
it's not a different genre, it's a sound in a
It's
different
a
location,
different sound.
but
Yeah.
it's hip hop and the breath control
Absolutely.
delivery, them two right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like Busta Rhymes is like right in the middle of all of that. He's in the middle of that island
Somebody that I
sound, and then
see.
I know it. I know.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that cats that had I
Absolutely.
been if you would have told me and I'd have wrote it down, maybe he would have. 5 is just
He
hard,
probably would
man,
have been on it.
because you know
It
you,
is.
you 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 leave people out when you just do 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna do a episode where we do like a let's say like a top 20, but then I'm gonna give it a criteria. So because when you just tell somebody top 5, the person thinks of the top 5 that they like or the top 5 that resonated with them. But if you put certain criteria on the top 5 list, like let's say I said every person had to um put a region on the map. All of a sudden, you gotta like go to a Easy E and an Ice Cube and Snoop, or an E40, or what I'm saying. You gotta add other people that Bone Thugs and Harmony that like took an area, and it's like, oh, okay, we start knowing about Cleveland because of Bone Thugs and Harmony. But if you just said
Man, you
top
just
groups, and
trying to start an argument.
I am,
You
I
just
am,
trying to
I love it.
you just trying to get people feeling passionate. And you know what's great, man? That the culture has
Yeah,
grown that much that we have those
yeah,
choices. Because I remember culture first started, you know, my elders was like, "What the heck is that? Turn that off. That ain't no music.
right,
that ain't gonna
right.
last."
That
And
ain't music.
you know,
Yeah,
and look at it now. Look at all the success and the growth. Like, what of music has merch and music and movies and just everything.
commercials and
Hip
I mean,
hop.
since
We
since
every corner
disco,
of the
I don't
earth
think,
are,
I don't,
yeah, everything.
yeah,
We like the heavyweight champs of music, man. Hip hop.
absolutely, absolutely. And you got to give us the like. You could argue that disco in its day had that kind of effect on everything, where everywhere you looked, it felt like disco. The beginning of movies, it felt like disco. It was just TV show, like disco was present. The biggest difference, and the reason that I maybe even biasly give hip-hop the nod for the champ, is because hip-hop did it from nothing. Hip
Mm-hmm.
hop did it without money, without resources, without cosigns. Like hip hop got it out of nowhere and made the world respect it. And I feel like you got to give it to the underdog for that.
Yeah, man. I mean, you came in there and did we did our thing, man. It was the voice for the culture. And as long as it
Yeah,
remains that, as long as it becomes the voice of the youth, it's gonna live forever. So that's why we pass it
yeah,
down. You know, you go to these hip hop concerts and you seeing grandparents with their kids and their
mm,
grandkids and great grandkids because
yeah,
they've lived through that culture and they passed it down. And you know, I'm sure your kids know who Bismarck is. You know,
yeah.
you gotta pass that you gotta pass that down, man.
You got to pass it down. Yeah,
You gotta pass that down. So that's how the next generation get it. You know, you gotta let them know
right.
about Snoop. They gonna be like,
Yeah,
Snoop, who's Snoop? They're like, well, no, let me sit your butt down.
right.
Let me put
Hey,
you on game.
but Snoop's so smart. My kids, they knew Snoop Loops. They knew a cereal from Snoop before they knew the rapper.
Yeah,
But that's how genius Snoop is.
yeah. He's a genius.
He stayed Brandon. He stayed Brandon.
He figured it out.
All right.
He figured it out,
Well,
man. But yeah, love the
Damiek,
hip hop.
this has been a good conversation, a great episode. I appreciate your time, man. Like, just I knew once we start getting into your background and hearing about you as an educator, what you do for kids, how you even look at kids. I'm pretty sure anybody listening or watching can just feel that there's a respect, there's a love, there's a desire for understanding, and overall there's an intentionality for their growth to be the next leaders, and that is massive for anyone to see in the group of people that we entrust with our kids to take them to the next level. So Thank you for being a great representation for teachers all over. And thank you for what you do for kids in Dorsey High School and wherever you end up teaching next.
Hey man, I appreciate the opportunity in this platform to just you know, share a little with you. And that, I'm the quiet guy. It's not normally my thing to be out there like that. So,
Yeah.
when the opportunity comes, I'm very careful of who I speak to. And I'm like, oh,
Mm.
that's my bro. I know he good people. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm blessed with the opportunity to help you out. And it was a dope conversation, man. We're gonna have to connect like we did in the past and have some offline conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We need that. I
Yeah,
miss that.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Because I need that too, man.
Yes.
We all we got, right?
That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, my guy, I appreciate your time. I will holler at you on the next one. This is how we sign off. I will say pod is good. You say all the time. I'll say all the time. You say pod is good. You
Okay.
got me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Pod is good.
All the time.
And all the
God
time,
is good.
my guy, I will talk to you soon, bro. Peace out.
Peace. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That was episode 38 with my man Damiek Barrow. Did I promise you? Did I come through on the promise? Did we bring the energy? Did we bring the insight? And I know y'all feel me when I was saying that a lot of times parents especially worry about who we are entrusting our kids with. Do they want the best for them? Do they have that passion? Are they looking into my kids' eyes trying to find that light? And so when you hear an educator at a high school saying that in the middle of Los Angeles, saying, I search for that. I listen first. I advise second. I try to navigate. That's beautiful. We need more people like him. If you enjoyed the show today, if you enjoyed the content, make sure you follow, subscribe, like, share, whatever thing you want to do. Do all of them if you want, they're free. But if there's just one, pick the one that makes you feel like I supported you, Cash, and I appreciate you for it. Till the next time that I am Cashmere, California. This is the Pod is Good podcast, and I will catch y'all on the next show.